When I was little, I loved the color purple. I drew purple skies, purple trees, purple people, until one day I was corrected. I was told that the trees were green and the sun was yellow. All of a sudden, there were right answers, and mine wasn't one of them. And the strange thing is that no one ever meant to take that away from me. They're just trying to help. Yet in doing so, they taught me something else, what it means to be smart. Good afternoon, my name is Tegan Gorman Pena, and today I want to explore how many of us learned what it means to be smart long before we even knew how to ride a bike. Because I think we all learned the same lesson without even realizing it. From square one, we were learning not just information, but what counts. The problem is that we carry these lessons far beyond our childhood drawings of purple trees. It becomes the way we define intelligence. Now, we've all heard of the left side of the brain and the right side. The left is seen as analytical and logical, while the right is creative and emotionally expressive. And even though one can be equally intelligent in both, we still reward the left far more than the right. From a young age, it is drilled into us that we are seen as intelligent if we can do the timed assignments, have straight A's. Yet, no one calls the creative, artistic kid smart. No one looks at the drama kid and immediately thinks, oh my gosh, genius. And this doesn't just happen in schools. It happens literally everywhere. It comes from dinner tables, quiet conversations, and even the questions we ask kids. When a child answers the universal, what do you want to be when you grow up, with marine biologist or astronaut, it's probably going to get a bigger smile than singer or artist. Slowly, we start to learn which kinds of intelligence are valued and which are overlooked. And that's where we start defining what it means to be smart. And over time, that simple distinction begins to alter more than just what we're good at, but our own perceptions of ourselves. Looking back, I think I learned how to blend in before I even knew who I was. In kindergarten, when the teacher gave us something to draw, I watched what colors the other kids used. At 5 years old, I could not be seen as the one who couldn't color things properly. After a while, I started picking my favorite of their drawings and copied it. Soon, it just became normal. Until, in the first 2 weeks of high school, my artsy homeroom teacher made us draw a very simple picture of a goose. Her demonstration consisted of a few squiggly lines that vaguely resembled a goose. Seems easy enough, right? I sat craning my neck to see what everyone else's looked like. I couldn't draw the goose. And the crazy thing was that it had literally absolutely nothing to do with the drawing. I was terrified of doing it wrong. It took me 16 years to realize that sometime before I even started kindergarten, I'd stopped trusting my own original thinking. I'd been taught that doing something differently or incorrectly meant anything at all about my intelligence. And when you grow up constantly associating being correct with intelligence, even drawing a goose seems like a test. Creativity itself becomes intimidating. The problem is that these ideas don't just stay in classrooms. They get stuck inside kids' heads. Raise your hand if you've ever said the words, I'm not a math person. Yeah, so like the vast majority of people here. And we say it so casually too, as though intelligence is something that is fixed. Either you are or you aren't. The funny one, the athletic one, the smart one. But the second kids internalize that they aren't smart, they stop taking risks. They stop asking questions. They stop raising their hands, because different becomes less than. So if our whole definition of intelligence discourages curiosity, risk-taking, and originality, then maybe our definition has been wrong all along. Square one itself is built wrong. If childhood is where identity begins, then maybe instead of pushing kids down, discouraging all of these incredible things, telling them what society wants them to be, maybe we should be encouraging them to explore everything that they are. Because square one isn't just where we start learning. It's where we decide what we want to grow. And the crazy thing is that society desperately wants originality. Every innovation, breakthrough, movement we celebrate came from someone who was willing to think differently. In this way, questions like what excites you reveal so much more about a child than just what you want to be when you grow up. So what if we start reframing intelligence? Maybe instead of having to be correct all the time, we can value curiosity. Maybe the smartest classrooms are not only the ones where the kids answer every single question perfectly on every single test, but also the ones with the kids who ask unusual questions, challenge ideas. Let us ask liberating questions, not only ones that push kids into picking the most impressive titles. Because, let's be real, prestige and success in left-brain careers has literally never been the issue. The issue is when kids internalize that these are the only paths to success. So, in this way, asking questions that are open-ended, like what excites you, tell us so much more about a child. Because no child should ever have to put everything that they are into literally one word, one job title. Maybe then originality won't have to be something that we apologize for. Maybe then kids can start painting their skies purple. When I was writing this speech, I asked one of my friends to look over it to see how I was doing. When he finished reading, he looked up at me and he said, "You're such a hypocrite. You are the least right-brained person I have ever met. You sit silently in class, you take notes from the teacher, you never raise your hand, you never ask questions. Why are you giving a speech on originality when you're terrified of it?" I told him that that is exactly why I wanted to give this speech. So that maybe someday there'll be a kid exactly like me who learns to trust their own thinking a little bit earlier than I did, who won't have to look around at everyone else's before drawing their goose. Because maybe the problem was never a lack of intelligent children. Maybe it's just that we've only ever been taught to recognize one kind. Thank you.